Kick it off a bit. That's what we were just talking about. What's the state of play with your Wales players this weekend? How's that going to work?
Yeah, as far as we're aware, they're all available, and they'll travel to Poland. I think on Saturday at some point, but we play Friday night, so we've been allowed to play everyone who's available.
Is that because you're on the Friday night?
Not sure what the other regions have in place. It might be that it sits that way, but as far as I'm aware, they're all available because they've still got 2 weeks before the next games. I wouldn't have thought Wales would want them to have a 3-week break before they play their first test, unless there's individuals that they've specified, but we haven't heard anything.
Jordan Williams out for a little while.
Yeah, it's a nasty one. He's put his shoulder out, so he's seeing a specialist next week, and then take it from there. I would have thought it would need some sort of intervention, but until we've got it looked at by someone that knows what they're talking about, not me, then we won't know. But yeah, it's a blow for him because we've put a fair bit of energy and faith into him, and he's delivering. And I think especially in this period now, he would have featured heavily for us with the Welsh boys away. So it's a blow for us and for him because he was looking sharp.
What's the sort of state of mind after Saturday and presumably the end of your Heineken Cup?
I think we're the realisation that we've played against the champions and the semi-finalists from last year. You've got to put it into context a little bit. We were handicapped slightly. We still haven't. A couple of players came in late. Second rows in particular, Jacoby still hasn't arrived yet, so we haven't still not fully loaded in terms of our squad for this year. So that slightly affected our preparation for these first 2 rounds, and we're positive because for 40 minutes against Claremont we were as good, if not better, at them at times, and our game plan was very effective. We lose a man, and then unfortunately things start to go wrong when you're one man down for 40 minutes. And then this weekend we started poorly, but we got ourselves back in the game, and we took some positives out of this weekend as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's plenty of positive stuff to focus on. Our execution this weekend in particular probably could be better, but that's part of playing against one of the better sides best side in Europe in the last 3 or 4 years. So it's the players now have an opportunity to go to Edinburgh and back up what we've done in the Rabo, because we put ourselves in a really strong position. What we can't afford to do is let the last couple of weeks' disappointment affect that, because we've got to take the positives and use the negatives as a motivating factor to kick on in the league now.
It's been a slightly disappointing Heineken Cup campaign for you. It's been a disaster for Edinburgh. What do you make of them?
Well, they're a team that's actually making a lot of line breaks. I think they've made more line breaks than any other side in the Rabo, but not finishing off. And they recruited quite heavily this year, and maybe that's taken a bit of time to settle and get their squad firing. So yeah, they'll see every game now as an opportunity to turn it around, and they'll be looking at us coming up there and think no different. We've had a couple of good results up there in the last couple of years, but we've also gone up there and not played particularly well. So we have a big focus on our game this week, and not necessarily too much about Edinburgh. It's about us getting some of our decision making, execution right, and hopefully putting pressure on Edinburgh when they've got the ball. But focusing more on us this week, because we've been slightly limited in the turnaround and the training time. We haven't been able to put too much into place, so it's about getting the execution right and just getting a little bit better at some of the things that's in our control.
So Friday night, which presumably the last time you're going to put all your internationals out for quite a while, it's a chance to sort of nail your Rabo position, and for all those reasons it's a pretty important game for you.
It is, yeah. It's a big game. We've gone up there in the past and expecting to get a result and haven't. We've not always travelled well up there, so it's a really important game, and I think the players to a man are all keen to put the last couple of weeks behind them get back to winning ways. And it's it should be a decent track, which hopefully will suit some of our players. And it's important that we get a result to hopefully see those boys off on a good note, and then focus on Zebra then after the weekend.
Logistically, how does it work? You get back in early Saturday morning, do you?
Yeah.
Cardiff?
Yeah.
So early flights, and then they make their way to the Vale and make their way to Poland, basically.
Yeah. It's
rugby.
Yeah. I mean, their focus this week won't be on Poland. I can assure you that.
People stop thinking about it as they possibly can, won't they?
They might ever think about that on Friday night after the game, but I think at the moment they're all focused on the performing for us on the weekend, and then hopefully they go to Poland in good spirits.
You mentioned Jacoby there. Obviously the Lions are out of the Currie Cup now. What's the situation in terms of his arrival?
Yeah, visas, etc., and transfer of permits. He won't arrive till the 1st of November, so he'll be available after that.
Right, so he's probably missed the next couple of games.
Yeah, but we're quite fortunate. I suppose we've got a bit of depth there at the moment. We've got Rob Evans coming back soon, Jacoby to come in, and then obviously Rodri and Evans to come back in early December. So we're starting to build a bit of depth there in that position, which is important.
Yeah, obviously Samson's another one. Obviously there was talk of possibly him being involved with the Wales squad.
Yeah.
It's probably better that he, from your point of view, gets game time now as a young
Yeah, I
player.
think so. He would learn loads up there,
Yeah.
and he's learning loads from Danny, and he'd be under the same sort of guidance with Robin. But I think it's important that he, at his age, keeps playing and keeps learning his trade in the scrum by playing. And there are going to be weeks where he'll need some work outside of that and some technical stuff, which may come sooner rather than later. But I think it's probably the right thing that he hasn't been called up at this stage. Yeah. He's done very well, and we're really pleased with him. But he's he probably needs games at the moment.
You've got 11 in the squad. Obviously, it creates its own headaches there, but the fact that you are the best represented Welsh region, you must take a lot of heart from that as well.
I've been.
Which way do you look at it?
Well, it's it creates problems if you've got the more you have in there, the more destructive it can be. The Dragons have got one player in, haven't they? And with that allows them to be select consistently, and I think we've. We are lucky that we've got a group of players below the ones that are going to go away from next week that we feel will step up. A lot of them played on the weekend for Llanelli as a unit, especially in the back, so that's quite handy as well, that we've got that ability to get players to play for Llanelli and Livery and Carmarthen Quins, and especially for Llanelli on the weekend where we had a lot of players potentially that are going to come up to us that have played together for the last couple of weeks.
Gareth Owen's one of those who seems to have slotted in well.
Yeah, he's been very good. I think he had 40, 60 now, hopefully 80 on this weekend, and he's feeling good and he's looking really good as well. So we're really pleased, and it's timely that he's coming back in when you're losing the likes of John and Scott in the centre. Them Gareth comes in as a good option.
You start the season, you spoke about how spoiled for choice you're at hooker. Obviously, there's 2 going to the Welsh squad, and you've got another 2 injured at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
What after this weekend? Where does that lead?
Well, Kirby's is more kind of superficial. He's had a dislocation of the finger, and it's on his left hand, and it's his wedding finger. Right. So it's wedding ring finger. So it's in terms of throwing, binding, it might be a bit of an issue, but he should be okay. And it'll be 4 weeks on Monday, and it's a 6-week injury. Right. So Andy, the physio, has managed to get a brace for him. Okay. So we're hoping that he'll be available after this weekend, which is great. Craig Hawkins is going very well for the semi-pro team for Llanelli, really well. He brings lots of energy and experience. And then hopefully Evans will be back sooner rather than later. Right. He'll be on the verge of returning before the end of November, I would have thought. Right. Potentially first week in December, but it won't be... he's kind of making good strides as well in his rehab. Last week it was like a war zone in the physio room Monday morning. The physios did an amazing job last week to get so many players back to availability, and then it was up to us obviously to select. And this week hasn't been as bad, but there's still a few that we need to try and get through the next couple of days, and hopefully train Thursday with an option to their involvement on the weekend.
Have you been pleased how Thomas has come?
Yeah, he's good. He's loads of energy. You know, he's a bit of plays more of a looser role than maybe George and Joe Schneeman and Sione. So he's a little bit of a difference there in that second row position. Someone likened him to Chris Wyatt the other day, which I don't know whether that's a good thing for him or not. But Chris did well for us, didn't he? So hopefully he can have the same impact on the field.
Interceptions.
Yeah. No, he's got a lot of good skills, and his language is great as well. You know, he's got a great grasp of the language. That's not a problem. Probably better than Chris's. So I think we're actually, if he can do half the stuff that Chris did on the pitch, then we'll be more than happy with it.